So I hope I'm getting this in the right spot. We'll try it and have a look. I'll just do a little shoot. So the first thing I was talking about is just working on one finger at a time. So we're going to start off with just the pointer finger on the first fret of the C string and just try and get that angle. Okay, so we're trying to get that kind of wrapped around kind of angle so that our fingers are at a perpendicular angle to the neck. Okay, we're just working on the one finger on the B string on the first fret and just put it on, try and get a good position and just play those three strings. And if it's a little muted on the E string, try pushing your wrist forward, push your elbow forward a tiny, tiny amount. Try and get a clean note, take your fingers off, and then start over again. Come back on, try and get that wrapped around Phoebe's dragon claw or whatever it is. And we're just going to work on that first note and get a nice clean note out of that one finger. And we want to do the same kind of thing with other fingers. So another one that we looked at here was the D chord. We played a D6. So a D6 is just the middle on the second fret of the E string, and then pointer on the second fret of the G string. And if you just play those two strings, and you can strum those strings or also include the D string, that gives you that D6 chord, which, by the way, was very popular with the Beatles. They played the 6 chord a lot. So now we've got those three, and what we're working on there is making sure that we're not muting the middle finger, the middle note, with our pointer finger. So we're getting a nice angle there. And then take your fingers off and go back on. Just play the one, and you can just start off, just put the middle finger on and just play those two high strings. Then put the pointer on the G string on the second fret and play those strings. And then when you're ready, you can add the middle finger over here on the B string and adjust your angle and stuff. You might have to wrap your fingers forward a little bit to get them in the right place. And we want to get all three of those sounding nice. And again, take your fingers off and start again. Middle on the E, pointer on the G, ring on the B string. And we're just working on that skill of getting the fingers on with the right angle and the right approach. And that gives you a D chord. This one over here gives you the beginnings of a C, or also the beginnings of a A minor 7. And so to add the A minor 7, once I've got the back here on the B string, my finger on the first fret of the B string, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my middle finger and put it onto the second fret on the D string, adjust the positioning of my fingers a little, wiggle them around until you get a nice clear tone, and then get those to sound nice. And take them off and start again. Put them back on, pointer on the first fret on the B string, middle finger on the second fret of the D string. Okay, and then another one that we looked at, again as a practice exercise, is just playing our G with a B bass. So the G we were using, we're playing the ring finger on the B string. And if you want to, you can add the pinky on the E string underneath it. Okay, and then the pointer finger goes onto the second fret of the A string. And that's a G chord with a B bass. If I take my middle finger and add it onto the third fret of the E string, it gives me a full G chord. Okay, so start off and just work with your ring finger on the B string and just play the G string and the B string and the E string. And you'll hear that sound. Okay, and that's a nice clear sound. That's what we're working for there. And then add your pointer finger on the A string on the second fret. And that gives us a G with a B bass. And we'll just work on that for now. So those are a few different shapes that you can work on. Another one that we worked on that's also nice and easy to play, and again, now we're engaging the pinky, is the D minor. So we'll play the D minor, our pointer on the first fret of the E string, and just play a couple of strings and hear that sound, and then put your middle finger on the second fret of the G string, and you can play those three strings. And then we're going to put our pinky down on the third fret of the B string. and that allows us to get a wider stretch without having to stretch so much. And that is the D minor chord, which is a very sad chord, and which is a very important chord. We're going to use that a lot. So there are some different chord shapes that you can work on. Practice putting your fingers down one at a time. If it doesn't sound exactly right, push the chord forward a little, wiggle your elbow left to right a little, and try and pay attention to your fingertips, because often you can feel that touching that next string with the back of your finger if you pay attention to the sensation. Okay, so give that a try, and just do the best you can, and we'll come back at this next week. Hope you're feeling okay, and I'll talk to you soon.